some time by doing just that, 2.4 ahead.
Well, the French, another team that have started very well. They've got Fourcade, who is the #1 in the world, Alexis Boeuf, who's #3 in the World Cup standings at the moment, Denek Vitek, who's been seems to have been on the World Cup almost as long as Thomas Sikora, but still relatively young. Sikora retiring at the end of last year, of course, Brill's teammate. That's Goranichev with some good shooting. That makes up for those 2 misses early on. Simoneda, 26:30, and just missing out on that leading time. So Semenov has had a very, very good final lap, because Ada was a few seconds clear of him coming out of the range for the last time. Moravec gets tied up. Now that's... well, it's not cost him anything, no broken equipment. Maybe a bit of frustration might make him push for the early stages of the final lap. Who gives right away, Mike?
Well, I think the athlete who is exiting the range, normally they stay closer to where the coaches are, so the athlete's coming out. So I think a little mistake there from the Serbian. He should have been possibly further over to the
right. They were
fence.
both exiting the range, but I think that the Serb was just drifting across slightly to the left. I think you're absolutely right.
But when you're shooting there, you're only focused on yourself. Your mind is just saying, get out as fast as you can, or get out of this, ski through the range as fast as you can. It's cost him one shot, Landetinger.
He needs this. Well, that's frustrating. A fantastic position, 55 seconds clear when he came into the range, and now with 2 penalties to pay, that's an extra 300 metres, roughly 45 seconds on the penalty loop. Landetinger's chances have gone the same way as Suman's. But Austria still have Simoneda in the bank. He's run his race, he's in 2nd place at the moment. We'll certainly keep the crowd on their feet in tomorrow's pursuit. Quite a tough programme here, Mike. Normally we'd start on a Wednesday and have a day off for each of the men and the women, but 3 successive days of racing.
It's a very hard programme. Sprint today, pursuit tomorrow, relay. Of course, not all the athletes will take part in the relay, just the best 4 from each nation. Of course, the Austrians still got Friedrich Pinter out there coming in soon for his standing.
Do you think the only reason that they can run this sort of a schedule is the fact that there's very little micro trauma in skiing? You know, if you run too hard, certainly if you do 2 hard races in a row, you start to get muscle damage, as we see Legelic come in to finish, 26.01, 26.11 to beat, and he's well inside that. A great run from Legelic, and he sets the target time, looking for his 2nd victory of the season. Now, here's a man who could challenge him, and this is good from Lukas Hofer. Oh, what a shame. Number 5 has to go down. He's missed that as well. And Hofer has shown once again that he's a potential winner on the World Cup, but not when he misses shots 4 and 5. Now, Bergman, a chance for him as well. And this is even quicker than Hofer. I think the snow might just be getting a little bit quicker.
Hofer just melted on the last 2 shots. He wanted to get back out as soon as he could skiing. Bergman missed all 5 last week, much better this week. He's got his discipline together.
4 out of 5 might be good enough for a top 3 for Carl-Johan Bergman. Bjorn Ferry, 26.27. Well, that's not a bad run from Bjorn Ferry. He'll have a reasonable start in the pursuit, whatever position he finishes in. Andy Bernbacher, solid as usual. This is good, and it's going to be a new leading time for Andy Bernbacher, and the German success continues. There were so many who were concerned that with Mickey Grice going, and of course the big names that have left in the last 5 or 6 years, Germany would fade away, but that is not going to be the case. And Andy Bernbacher, Arndt Pfeiffer are going to be 2 men who bring them forward, as well, of course, as Lesser, who was astonishing last week. That's a big margin he's got. That's a wonderful margin. Bernbacher, he just pulls it out of the bag time after time. He was up there, of course, 2nd in the pursuit on, Saturday last weekend, and
in the Östersund. His form is good, his shooting is great.
Well, here comes Malishko, who was the fastest up to 3 kilometres, so we know he's quick over the snow. He's already missed one, but if he can go clear here, he won't be far outside Bernbacher's time. Malishko is having a flyer, but he needs 5. And fast. He'll be a threat in the pursuit, but he will not win today with those 2 mistakes. Here comes Arndt Pfeiffer, 26.05, well out of reach, 39.6 seconds behind with just 1 miss. So he's lost some 17, 18 seconds to the best ski time. Looks relaxed.
Brilliant. I thought he would have to shoot fast. This is a new day for Foucault. He never normally starts this far back, and it's a lot of time to fill since the first athlete started. How will it affect his performance?
Yeah, Foucault, I think, has been looking at the wind forecast, but it's going to be an interesting psychological test for him, Mike, isn't it? Because he's seen so many good performances already that now he's absolutely certain he has to shoot 9. And he knows if he wants a real chance of winning, he's got to hit 10.
And it's impossible not to sense and feel the athletes around you, how good the performance. Foucault will have seen Bernbacher shooting the perfect score, taking the new lead time after the stand. In fact, Uystegov only 6.7 seconds behind Bernbacher.
Yeah, Landertinger's, we've just seen him go through. He's skiing well, 25 seconds behind, despite the fact that he's missed 2. Tim Burke in the top right-hand corner of your screen, shooting for USA, started number 50.
Booth showing us again his good form, his fairly fast shooting, not the fastest. And Booth, of course, second place last weekend in this race in the 10K.
And while all this is going on, perhaps the 2 biggest names in biathlon are still waiting to start. Bjorndalen and Svensson won't be long now. Bjørntegård of Norway has just got underway, started number 85. A reminder, Bjorndalen goes 91, Svensson goes number 98. So just over 5 minutes before Emil Hegler Svensson gets his race started. Andy Bernbacher is going to take the lead away from the Canadian Legelic, and he does so convincingly. Well, that's very, very strong, and Bergman slotting into second place as well with a time of 21.19. And Bernbacher started 30 seconds ahead of... in fact, Bergman started 30 seconds ahead of Bernbacher, so Bernbacher's done exceptionally well to gain that time.
Bernbacher's going to put a new finish time at about 25.30.
This could set a new lead time. It could have done. Well, not now. Unusual to still be aiming at the left-hand target, Mike.
Surprised he didn't flow through from target to target. Beatrix maybe showing his lack of international coping with pressure, if you like. He knew for a fact for 5 there he could have taken the lead. Great to see Vitek up there today so far. It's good. Big improvement from last weekend. Zdeněk Vitek only 12 seconds away. It's brilliant.
What about Martin Fourcade? He started well, 2:43, going through the 1.2 kilometre stage. No need to worry too much about that deficit. He'll make that up later on. He's perhaps the strongest finisher on the tour at the moment. Svensson looked a little tired up in Sweden in the pursuit, Mike. Fourcade looked just as he did in Ruhpolding, where no one could match him on that last lap.
I think I agree. Svensson in the home straight in the pursuit, he was lining up to move into 3rd place, and well, he only got a 5th. He couldn't find that little injection of pace to take 2 athletes in the home straight. Fourcade, it started well, but 3 seconds, 3.5 off the pace to this point.
Uystegov just moving into second. some 9 seconds up on Karl-Johan Bergman, so he's got quite a good cushion between himself and third place. Here we go with Ole Einar Bjorndalen. Is this going to be his day for the season? Remember, he did get a win last year, so he's still there. Lots of changes for Bjorndalen over the summer, and everyone interested to see how he gets on. How were you impressed with Sweden?
I was. I think he's back, and I think he has a very good chance of a top 5 today.
Austria's Landertinger into the finish, and another man right up there, only 22 seconds separating the top 5. This is not only building to be a very good race, the opener here in Hochfilzen, but it sets us up for a brilliant pursuit tomorrow, and I think there are going to be even more people slotting into that time margin. Martin Fourcade, can he do anything? He was 3 seconds down at the last split. He's now 0.4 ahead, and he's starting to wind it up in this early stage. 2 shoots still to come for Fourcade, looking for his 3rd win of the season. What a season he's had already.
And doesn't he make it look easy? This is the high point of the course, of course, 373 metres climbed over the 10 kilometre, the highest point. From here down to the range, it's relatively easy. You get a chance for some recovery until the final climb back up into the range.
But remember, last year he had a fantastic start again in Sweden, Mike. He came here and finished down in 22nd position, so it's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the #1 come the end of the day.
No, absolutely true, but Fourcade, his shooting was strong, it was focused, and he'll be concentrating, I think, on shooting again today. Martin Fourcade
is the world champion over 20 kilometres. That was a surprise result. Jakov Fak, fantastic skier. With 9 out of 10, he could well join the top 5 come the end of this run. Bernbacher into the finish now. 26.05 the time he's after, and he's well inside Legelik's time. A brilliant run from Bernbacher. That sets the target time at 21.31. Is that going to win today's race? Well, it's distinctly possible, because he's just got stronger and stronger as the race has gone on. Karl-Johan Bergman, the first to congratulate Bernbacher. Bergman finds himself 27 seconds behind and still in 2nd place. What about Bjorndalen's early split? We'll get a split at 1.2 kilometres. He's 6.9 outside the leaders.
I think that's safe. If we remember back to Fourcade coming through here, Fourcade was 3.5 seconds down at this point. But of course then there's the long climb. You can see it in the far distance. That's a huge climb up to the high point of the course. Little recovery after that, the steepest of climbs, and then again it's another 1.1 kilometre of climbing from under the bridge to the high point.
Well, here comes the man of the moment. New rifle this year. 1 or 2 changes to the stock. We had an opportunity to get some interviews with him in the off-season, Mike, saying that his most precious, he was asked whether the skis or the rifle was more valuable, and he said the rifle, of course, because it's so difficult to replace compared to the skis, where he's already had a choice of 100 pairs.
It's so true, and that the rifle is so personalised. It fits his hand, he's got the right distances to trigger.